students, in my previous lecture, we revise the characteristics of entrepreneurship and role of entrepreneurship in economic development. These 2 points we already cover in first semester syllabus of entrepreneurship development. Okay, now in this video lecture, we discuss the growth of entrepreneurship in India. The evolution of the Indian entrepreneurship can be traced back to even as early as Rigveda, when metal handicrafts existed in the society. This would bring the point home that handicrafts entrepreneurship in India was as old as the human civilization itself. Okay, before India came into contact with the West, people were organized in a particular type of economic and social system of the village community. Okay, so बहुत पहले क्या होता था, जैसे राजा महाराजा, तो उसमें फार्मर्स बेस्ड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स रहते थे, आर्टिजन्स रहते थे, रिलीजियस सेक्शंस रहते थे, मतलब प्रिस्ट रहते थे, है ना, फिर जो मटके बनाते थे, है ना, कुम्हार, वो रहते थे. तो ये सब हैंडीक्राफ्ट जो है वो बनाते थे उस टाइम. ओके, तो वो भी क्या कहलाते थे, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स. ओके, सो इन द प्री इंडिपेंडेंस एरा ऑफ इंडिया, द elaborated caste based diversion of worker consisted of farmers and artisans. ऐसे caste based में diverted हुआ करते थे पहले. Okay, so these artisans industries flourished over the period because the royal patronage was available to support them. Okay, राजा महाराजा हैं वो artisans को, farmers को support करते थे. On the whole, perfection in art and appeal to the eye of the individual were the distinguishing qualities inherent in the India craftsmanship that brought many everlasting of name and fame to illustrious India in the past. Okay, जैसे हर एक शहर को उनके कुछ तो अलग जो वो बनाते हैं वहाँ वो पहचानता था. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल अहमदाबाद फॉर दुपट्टाज एंड धोतीज, नागपुर फॉर सिल्क बॉर्डर्ड क्लॉथ्स, कश्मीर फॉर शॉल्स एंड बनारस फॉर metal wires, etc. Okay, so thus from the time immemorial till the earlier years of the 18th century, India enjoys the prestigious status of the queen of the international trade with the help of its handicrafts. Okay, ये handicrafts की वजह से वो prestigious जो international trade है वो enjoy करते थे. Okay, the advent of East India Company implemented the system of exporting raw material which were available in India. क्या करती थी ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, जो इंडिया में अवेलेबल है रॉ मटेरियल वो एक्सपोर्ट करती थी और इंडिया को कहती थी कि हमारा रॉ मटेरियल बाहर गया है, आप अभी इंपोर्ट करो वो, मतलब फिनिश गुड्स के रूप में. ओके, एंड इम्पोर्टिंग द फिनिश गुड्स, particularly the Parsis recognized good connection with the company. ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी से अच्छा कनेक्शन था उनका, and they were much unbiased by the company's business operation. The company established its first shipbuilding industry in Surat, where from 1673 onwards the Parsis built vessels for the company. Vessels बनाती थी, okay, कंपनी के लिए. The most important was shipwright Lauji and Nushirwan, who migrated to Mumbai around 1935. He belongs to Wadia family. Okay, so वो क्या हुआ, वो माइग्रेट हो गए अहमदाबाद से, वो आ गए मुंबई को. ठीक है, और वो वाडिया फैमिली के बिलोंग करते थे. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दिस फैक्ट्स इट कैन बी स्टार्टेड दैट द ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी मेड सम कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन टूवर्ड्स एंटरप्रेन्योरियल ग्रोथ इन इंडिया, और इट वॉज जस्ट अ कॉन्करेंस दैट पीपल came in contact with the company and entered the manufacturing entrepreneurship. Okay, उस वक्त तक जब तक ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी थी तब तक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडिया में स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ था, लेकिन स्लोली इंडियंस जो है वो स्टेप आउट कर रहे थे कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग जो है वो इंडिया में होना चाहिए करके. The actual emergence of manufacturing entrepreneurship can be noticed in the second half of the 18th century. Okay, तो ये ज़्यादा उसका जो श्रेय जाता है वो जाता है रणछोड़ लाल छोटालाल को. रणछोड़ लाल छोटालाल was a pioneer of the textile industry in Ahmedabad, India. Okay, he was awarded by the British government. He was born in a Nagar Brahmin family, was the first Indian to think of setting up the textile manufacturing on a modern factory lines in 1847, but he was failed. He in his second attempt he succeed in setting up a textile mill in 1861 at Ahmedabad, but before this the first cotton textile manufacturing unit was already set up by Parsi Nanabhai Dawar, Korosaji Nanabhai Dawar in Mumbai in 1854, followed by Naurosaji Wadia, who opened his textile mill in Mumbai in 1880. The credit for the expansion of textile industries up to 1915 goes to the Parsis. Out of 96 textile mills existing in 1915, around 50% of textile mills belong to Parsis, and rest of the 50% belong to Hindu, Muslim and British citizens. Later, the Parsis entered to other fields, mainly iron and steel industry. Jamshedji Tata was an Indian pioneer industrialist who founded the Tata Group, India's biggest company. He was born to Parsi family in Navsari state of Baroda. He what would later become the Tata Group of companies. Tata is regarded as the legendary father of Indian industry. Jamshedji Tata was the first remarkable entrepreneur who established the first steel industry in Jamshedpur in 1911. Okay. In the first wave of manufacturing entrepreneurship, except Parsis, all other held from non-commercial communities, namely Jains and Vaishya of Ahmedabad and Baroda, lagged behind an entrepreneurial initiative throughout the 19th century can be explained by टू मेजर फैक्टर्स. ओके, पहला जो फैक्टर है वो है इम्प्रूवमेंट ऑफ बिजनेस क्लाइमेट इन द कंट्री साइड ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड. उसमें क्या रिजल्ट आया कि क्विक रिटर्न्स ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट. उनको क्या चाहिए था, रिटर्न ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा चाहिए था इन्वेस्टमेंट के ऊपर. दिस प्रूव द कमर्शियल एक्टिविटी मोर actively during this period. Okay, secondly, it can also be attributed to their conservative attitude to change from commercial entrepreneurship to industrial entrepreneurship. Okay, the second wave of entrepreneurial growth in India began after the First World War. Okay, सेकेंड वेव कब आई एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की? जब फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर ख़त्म हो गया था, स्टार्ट हो गया था. ओके, फॉर वेरियस रीजंस द इंडियन गवर्नमेंट agreed to discriminating protection to certain industries, even requiring that companies receiving its benefit should be registered in India with rupee capital and have a proportion of their directors as Indian. मतलब जो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी है उसमें डायरेक्टर्स जो है वो ब्रिटिश रहते थे, लेकिन उन्होंने क्या किया, आवाज़ उठाई कि नहीं, इंडियन के भी डायरेक्टर्स होने चाहिए ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी में. ओके, so the advantage of these measures were mostly enjoyed by the Indians. The European failed to harness the protectionist policies to their interest. These measures helped in establishing and extending the manufacturing factories in India during the second half of the 19th century. During this period, the relative importance of Parsis declined and Gujaratis and Marwari Vaishyas gained that in India's entrepreneurial scenes. The emergence of managing agency system, which made its own contribution to the Indian entrepreneurship, can be traced back to 1936, when Tagore and company assumed the management of Calcutta Steam Tug Association. The credit for this initiative goes to an Indian. Okay, who encouraged others to form joint stock companies and invented a distinct method of management in which management remained in the hands of the firm rather than of an individual. ओके, सो ये ग्रोथ थी प्री इंडिपेंडेंस से पहले. ओके, इट इज स्टेटेड दैट द मैनेजिंग एजेंसी हाउसेस वेर द रियल एंटरप्रेन्योर फॉर दैट पीरियड particularly in eastern India. Okay, now we'll see the post independence of Indian entrepreneurial culture. Okay, most of the researcher in their research studies made statement that Indians have always been entrepreneur in nature. It's just only recently that this word is being used so often. Speaks about the challenges entrepreneurs have faced and the way to go ahead. The researchers noted the distinct phases in the history of entrepreneurship in India after the country's independence. Long years of domination had left severe scars on Indian psychological evident in the entrepreneurial culture that was growing in entrepreneurial setup. मतलब पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद बहुत सारे थके हारे थे जो जैसे चल रहा है वैसे चलने दे रहे थे. ओके, ग्रोथ नहीं हो पा रही थी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की. ओके, around 200 years of foreign burden has had wiped out independent mindset among the workforce with no decision making ability. उसमें इतनी decision ability मतलब शाबूत नहीं थी. Okay, in this background the thought leaders had to struggle to bring about an entrepreneurial attitude. Despite the arrival of independence, the early decade of 1950s to 1960s marked a slow progress from an agrarian economy to an industrialized market. Industry was dominated by textile power looms in and around Bombay, Ahmedabad, Calcutta, and Madras. The decade of 1960s saw the rapid expansion in large scale government sponsored heavy industry being set up across the country, undermining the role that an individual enterprise can play in a country's economic growth. The government went ahead building the state owned enterprises dependent on centralized planning. Based on the successful experience of the former Soviet Union, Indian policy makers concluded that, particularly for a poor country, centralized planning was essential for the efficient allocation of an economy's resources. Okay, in the 1970s, there was an intensive campaign to promote entrepreneurship among the Indian business. Okay, business community. This was the first effort to promote entrepreneurship in a concentrated manner. In 1970s, to increase foreign exchange earnings, Government of India designated export as a priority sector for active government help and established among their things a duty drawback system, program of assistance for market development, and 100% export oriented units to help producers exports. Finally, from the late 1970s through the mid 1980s, India liberalized imports such that those not subject to licensing as a proportion to total imports grew from 5% in 1980 to 1981 to about 30% in 1987 to 1988. However, this partial removal of quantitative restriction मतलब ये सब 1987 और 1988 के बीच में 30% जो रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस थे वो गवर्नमेंट में लिबरलाइज किए. लिबरलाइज करना मतलब स्लो करना मतलब शिथिल करना. ओके, so however this partial removal of quantitative restriction was accompanied by a steep rise in the tariff rate means tax rate. Okay, the late 1980s marked the new beginning for the small and medium entrepreneurs in India, with the new government choosing to move towards a market oriented economy. The economic crisis of the early 1990s resulted in economic reform and a deliberate move towards globalization and liberalization of the Indian economy. This shift brought in a huge change in a small and medium scale entrepreneurship units, contribution to production and export, reflecting that the small scale industries have undergone substantial technical change in their production process. Okay, so and soon by the early 2000, it was common to see young professional preferring to become an entrepreneur, and the least preferred career path was a stable government sector job. With the dawn of the new service oriented economy, young professionals will increasingly work in the private sector and later choose to start a business of their own. With technology helping a small and medium scale entrepreneurs in all possible ways, increasingly we will find professional venturing into new business opportunities utilizing easily accessible financial help. ओके, सो हमने देखा कि प्री इंडिपेंडेंस में कैसे ग्रोथ हुई एंड पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस में स्टार्टिंग में स्लो हुई, लेकिन बाद में स्लोली स्लोली लिबरलाइज होने के बाद रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन उसकी ग्रोथ अच्छे से हुई। और अभी फ़िलहाल तो हम देख रहे हैं कि बिजनेस के लिए बहुत सारे स्कीम्स जो हैं, हमने पिछले सेमेस्टर में भी देखा, स्टार्टअप स्कीम है, स्टैंड अप इंडिया स्कीम है, प्रधानमंत्री कौशल विकास योजना है। ये सब हेल्प जो है ये क्यों कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की ग्रोथ होनी चाहिए। ओके स्टूडेंट, इफ़ यू हैव एनी क्वेरी then please message me in my comment box, and also subscribe my channel. Okay, see you soon in my next video lecture. Till then, take care. Thank you.